The American dollar has been showing weakness in the recent months. The value of the dollar, as compared to several currencies, is sliding. In fact, even rupee is also stabilizing in terms of its value vis-a-vis dollar. So, what is the reason for that? Obviously, dollar is the preferred international currency, and why the value of dollar is declining, and how long this trend likely to persist, and is this the end of the supremacy of the dollar? So, these are some of the questions which we are going to discuss today. Firstly, there are several factors that is leading to this trend of declining value of dollar. I believe it is only a short-term trend. I'll also tell you why is it a short-term trend. The first reason for the present decline of value of dollar is essentially because the value of dollar is proportional to the climate, global economic climate. Whenever global economy or polity is in turmoil, obviously the demand for dollar will increase, because dollar is perceived to be a safe asset, given the fact that the most powerful nation of the world, United States, backs this currency. So at any point of time in the history, whenever there is turbulence in the markets, turbulence in the economy, polity, or in terms of the security conflicts, there is a clear increase in the value of dollar, because countries and the global reach want to store their surpluses in dollars and dollar denominated assets. So this is the first reason. Second reason, the dominance of dollar is essentially because of the geopolitics. So the dominance of dollar is not essentially related to economic dominance of United States. Economic dominance is only one factor. What do you mean by dominance of a dollar? When a currency is preferred as a unit of payment, as a unit of exchange, and also as a unit of store, what does it mean? If you want to take internationally, if you want to take a loan, you will take in dollars. If you want to import something, you will have to pay in dollars. If you have to export something, you will have to pay in dollars. Obviously, from debt to payments, it's done in dollars. And essentially, if you want to store the money, store the wealth you have in the financial world, you store in terms of dollars or dollar denominated assets. So that's the reason why there is a global dominance for dollar. So this dominance stems out of the geopolitical supremacy of United States. Well, there is no serious threat to the geopolitical supremacy of United States as such today. But it's a fact that the COVID-19 and the aftermath, especially the economic fallout, revealed the vulnerability of the United States. United States is the most affected country in this pandemic, and its economy too is reeling under recessionary conditions. And besides that, the Trump presidency has resulted in self-abandonment of global authority by United States. So the US under Trump moved out of the climate deal, moved out of the Iranian nuclear deal, there's no deal with China, there's no deal yet with India. So obviously, Trump-led United States has imposed isolationism on itself. So this self-isolationism, the unilateralism of the United States have undermined its authority over the world, at least have created a sense of caution in the world. So this is the second reason why the value of dollar is reeling. In fact, in the pre-COVID-19 period, there was a much serious challenge to the American supremacy in the form of China. But as a result of the COVID-19 emanating from China, the world is more suspicious on China today. The world is more apprehensive of China today. The over-dependence of China is also a subject of debate today. So, therefore, there may not be a long-term serious challenge to American supremacy, but certainly the geopolitical dominance of the United States is put to test by the way it handled the COVID-19 pandemic. So this is the second reason. Third reason is, normally when there is an economic or a fiscal crisis, the United States Federal Reserve, what we call in our country the Reserve Bank, so the US Federal Reserve resorts to printing of dollars. This is called monetary easing. So the cheap liquidity will be will be pumped into the economy. So this has happened in the aftermath of global financial crisis of 2008, and now it is happening. So the policy of monetary easing, the policy of printing dollars to bridge the large budget deficit, have created a greater supply of dollars, relatively outstripping the demand. So this resulted in the lower value of dollars. Then the fourth reason for that is, perhaps the US also today prefers a weaker dollar. Why any country prefer a weaker dollar? Essentially because weaker dollar will contribute to increase American exporters. If your value of a currency is weak, your exports become cheaper. And today, when the global trade has substantially declined due to COVID-19 induced economic crisis, United States officially may be preferring a weaker dollar to boost its trade potential or export potential. Then the fifth reason is, in the wake of the COVID-19 induced economic crisis, several countries across the world are reeling under the foreign exchange crisis. Well, India has a comfortable foreign exchange reserves for a host of reasons, but world over, more than 100 countries have already approached International Monetary Fund for support in this regard. The Pakistan has asked IMF $6 billion, 600 crore dollars. So obviously when several nations are reeling under foreign exchange crisis because of the falling exports and the global economic stagnation, United States has opened currency swap lines. What do you mean by currency swap lines is, if the United States, if it enters into a currency swap line with a nation, it will give dollars in exchange for the currency of that country. And after a particular period of time, the dollars have to be returned and the currency of the other country will be exchanged depending on the prevailing rate of the dollar. So these currency swap lines have been opened up by United States, especially with the friendly nations. Even the Reserve Bank of India at one point of time was seeking similar currency swap facility with the United States. But as of now, we perhaps may not require, because we have very comfortable foreign exchange position. So as a result of this currency swap lines, opening up of currency swap lines, the greater inflow of dollars have come into the global market, resulting in decline in the value of dollar. And the sixth reason is that the policy of the American policy of imposing sanctions on the nations hostile to it. United States has imposed sanctions on China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela, and several more countries. So obviously when the threat of American sanctions looms large, these countries prefer not to keep their surpluses in dollars or dollar-denominated assets, because America can easily strike. So obviously the countries that fear possible sanctions from America have been diverting their surpluses into other than dollars or dollar-denominated assets. So this obviously reduces the demand for dollars, resulting in the lower value of dollar. So I have explained the 6 reasons why the dollar is weakening. But what is the future scenario? So it's not correct to say that the dollar supremacy is over, essentially because United States still retains its geopolitical supremacy despite recent reverses under the Trump administration. Number one. Number two, the COVID-19 has adversely affected economy of almost every country. But at least America has started showing signs of recovery. It is estimated that United States economy will increase by 2%, whereas even a country like India is facing a serious economic contraction. The current estimates suggest that India will have a negative economic growth rate of 5 to 10%. So obviously American economy is relatively better. and especially the United States is also witnessing a decline in the number of cases, economies opening up, and we'll see the future is not as bleak as it was thought about. So this resulted in a possible surge of demand for dollars in future, or possible increase in the value of dollars. So these factors which I explained are essentially short-term factors. We have seen the experience during the pandemic also. The dollar values increased in February this year, especially when the world was passing through the worst fears of pandemic. But as the things started clearing, by the month of April, May, June, several countries have flattened their corona curve, and even some of these countries were reporting fall in number of daily new cases. Look at Europe, look at China. So the dollar started weakening. So that shows that the value of dollar is essentially because it's proportional to the global economic crisis. So obviously when the global economy gets stabilized as the pandemic danger passes by, I'm sure the American dollar will further increase its value, because in the near future at least, not even the China, or for that matter, any country or a group of countries can pose any substantial challenge to American supremacy across sectors ranging from economy to polity to military areas. Even today, United States economy is very strong in biotechnology, in healthcare technology, in several other critical areas of modern economy. So therefore, it is wrong to predict the end of dollar supremacy.